Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And if you love messy reality TV, then look no further than this recap of Love Island USA episode 21. So we pick up the episode, excuse me, because this episode had a whole bunch of stuff going on in it. Of course, the first part of the episode just had a lot of fluff, a lot of fluff. But we gonna slow roll through this thing and we gonna get to the part where everybody wanna talk about. So again, we pick up the episode with Kenzie talking to Dylan about her. Y'all, what? I just I just don't have words for Kenzie because I'm like Kenzie is. I just think Kenzie just be saying stuff like, cause what she really be talking about? You are talking about you possibly not passing the fifth grade. The fifth grade. And that's what motivated you to go to nursing school. So you could prove to yourself that you could do it. I mean, fifth grade must have been hell for her. Because how we got from fifth grade to talking about that's what motivated you to go to nursing school, I can't even remember what I was doing in the fifth grade. That's what I said. I just think Kenzie just be saying stuff. Because it's like, what? You thought you wasn't going to pass the fifth grade? Like, whatever. So in her telling this story, Dylan kisses her hand and she just loses her mind. I'm like, sometimes when Kenzie comes on my screen, I just don't know. I just don't know. I just be like, girl, any man doing anything, it's just like you get all these like giddiness and you know, but he kissed her hand and she just loses all train of thought because she just becomes so giddy and she's just like I was like, what is happening? I just want to know what's happening because it was a lot. But I mean, hey, it's Kenzie. And Kenzie just loves to kiss everybody. I don't care who it is. Kenzie don't mind laying them lips on it. So I'm like, but she doesn't look at herself as lustful because the way you, I mean, which we gonna briefly over the dock scene. I mean, honey, yeah, I might as well just been out there just doing it. Cause I mean, it was a lie, but hey, but she's not lustful. We got Corbin and P, and I'm sorry, she's just gonna be called P because I keep messing her name up, and it pretty much it is what it is. And I don't want to be disrespectful to the girl and just call her all these names that they got floating around on these social media sites that they is calling this girl. So I'm just don't say P. So I'm just wondering why Corbin wants her thoughts on the postcard because why would the postcard matter to her? It's not like the postcard had something on it with him and Kenzie. It was a postcard with, so I don't know why he even needed to ask her what she thought. But I just found it interesting for her to say that she thought that they had a sexual chemistry. And I'm like, but what do you think you and Corbin have? What do you it's blowing my mind at the fact that she's 27 and he's 22. Girl, what? I just think he's just a nice man to look at. And I think that's just where they get wrapped in is that he's a nice man because it just doesn't seem like, but I mean, I guess they do look good together. I will give them that because she is definitely a pretty girl. But she gives me a little airheady a little bit. because when she was like, I can't wait for us to get our cars. I was like, what? I can't wait for us to get our cars and you and get in a car with me and you like listen. I'm like, what is this conversation? I, I just again, I don't whatever. Corbin does love to point out that they're the same person. She is him and him is she. They are the same person. You know. So two peas in a pod at best. Bryce is talking to Sydney about how much he misses Trinity. And it's just kind of like, okay, Bryce really, I don't know, I'm still working through it. And I'm not even sure, like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, like this episode, they're, which I believe that they are probably the ones winning the money, but I still not actually sold. Because again, just a little fast forward, even when Trinity gave her speech about why she was picking him, it was about something about his jokes, and I don't know. It just, I don't know. I hope it's real. I hope it's real. But again, it's Love Island. Most of the time, these couples are not going to last in the real world. So it pretty much it is what it is. You have Anaya does mention so they have the girls in they're just kind of like cutting scenes. So they have the girls in their makeup room and they're getting ready for bed or whatever. And you see Anaya say that, she wants to be with some fine shh. And she feels like Casey is some fine shh. So, but Trinity does remind her that, girl, you keep putting up with that fine shh, but he keep doing you wrong, or he gonna be doing you wrong, and you don't be looking dumb, and something along those lines. So, in a way, I'm wondering if the girls are solely going off of how Casey was in that video that they saw from Casa, or did they see signs prior? Because they are heavy on Anaya about her exploring and not being closed off to like bringing somebody back and so on and so forth. So I just wonder, like, is this something that they saw before? Because you never really saw anyone like like none of the girls have conversations with her as far as them not like being compatible with each other or anything along those lines. So it just makes me wonder, is this solely off of what they saw and they're pushing her, or did they see before that, like, hey, I don't know, y'all seem like y'all on two different levels, or so on and so forth. So it's just a little nugget to me. Um, and then they flash to back to the boys' villa. I mean, at this point, I think it's Zach. I think Zach is in love with Bryce. I think that's what it is. I think Zach is in love with Bryce because I feel like most of the time in their interactions, Zach is the one that's like initiating the touchy feely. When they flashed to the boys and he was like, Bryce was under covers and he was pouncing on top of him, I was like, what is happening? I just don't understand why no one else finds this behavior to be a little bit bizarre. Everybody else just like, oh, okay, this is. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that if Zach likes Bryce, I feel like he should just say it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't know. But Bryce is always, I mean, Zach is always somewhere wrapped around Bryce, pretty much. Bryce is still moping around. Um, Zach's person has been removed, so he doesn't really have anyone to pursue him at this time because his person is the person that was supposedly pursuing him is now removed from the villa. So on and so forth. Um, so you have Sincere and Caleb talking. Um, and Caleb mentions that he does miss the girls at the villa, the OG girls. Um, and he's like, even though he doesn't have a connection over there, he does miss them. They say that the Casa girls, he does say that the Casa girls are so much more open than the Villa girls. Um, I just don't feel like it takes a rocket science to figure out why the Casa girls are a lot more open. They're fighting for a spot on this show. You have a week of being on TV pretty much versus being able to get back in the villa and trying to last as long as you can in the villa. So obviously, I feel like that is why the Casa girls are up over the top and so on and so forth because they want to get picked. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but to just act like the Villa girls are like so just, as Sincere says, they treat it like the outside, like, oh, I wouldn't talk to my friend's dude and so on and so forth. I understand that, and then I don't understand that because it's like definitely now, like at this point, now again, in the beginning, it does seem like everybody just kind of found their person, but I also don't feel like they just have had like so many bombshells or anything. And I don't know. We didn't see, so I don't know if other people chatted. I don't know. I just feel like that you just at some point you just like who you like. And it does to me it doesn't have anything to do with exploring or anything like that. If you feel like you found somebody that you feel like you like and somebody that you feel like you are compatible with, I don't understand why you would need to continue to talk and talk and talk and talk to this person. So it's okay to have open communication and so on and so forth, but I more so just feel like that some of the girls, because not all the girls, because the only two, let's see, the only girls that haven't really just explored is Melanie and Anaya, because you had Beatrice. She explored because she stepped on the red dot in the beginning for her to go explore. Trinity went and explored. Bryce went and explored. Like, there's only a handful of people that have not just fully explored, and I would say, well, on the girl side, I would say that's more Anaya and Melanie because Kenzie been exploring everything that walked in the door. Kenzie done tested it all out. So I don't even know how you could really make that comment because again, it's really only two girls that haven't really um, explored. And then when Melanie, of course, was overly exploring, is how we created the Soul situation because you did all of what you did with Soul, knowing that you still wanted to pick Melanie. It's crazy work. Um, Sincere says that before they received the letter, that he was forgetting what Melanie looked like in a bad way, and I was just like, I be trying to because I do feel like Sincere is a people pleaser, excuse me. I mean, but you just be like, some of the things that just come out of his mouth, you just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? So you mean to tell me in 3 days, or at this point, maybe this might have been day three, since it was the closing of Casa this day. So in 3 days, you were starting to forget what Melanie looked like. I was like, you got like, well, no, actually, because it was the postcard. You said it was the postcard that you. That's when you realized you had started to forget what she looked like. So in 2 days, you started to forget what she looked like. It's like Sincere, honey. Oh, movie night gonna be hell for Sincere. Movie night is going to be hell on wheels for Sincere because it is not even that he has, because I don't, he definitely hasn't done what Casey has done, which put Melanie down like Casey did to prop up what he currently was in. Um, it's just that your lies, like, you literally sit in one woman's face and tell them what they want to hear. I mean, and you're so sweet and caring and this and that. But it's literally the same from woman to woman. I don't think that, to me, when he's like, he has to do all this exploring, like, to really, I don't feel like you have to be so overly affectionate and pour into these people only for you to pick Melanie. Because if you continue to pick her, that means she's at the forefront of your brain. So if she's at the forefront of your brain, then it should make you move a little bit differently. Even though you're giving somebody else a chance, it should still make your actions be a little different than how you would be if you were single. I don't know. Sincere makes my head hurt. But so we flash over to Corey. Corey made Melanie breakfast, and he did it like a little picnic. It was cute, And she said that was the first time that I guess someone there had, because we have seen in the past where guys set up like little dates around the villa or things like that. And so she was like, "This is the first time that she has had this happen. Like, basically, Sincere, you ain't did shit. You were around running here, running amok around this mug, and you ain't even just completely pouring into this girl." So they have a little small talk about foods and things like that, cooking, I think. Um, and Melanie wants to kiss him. I was proud of her. Like, okay, go on, girl, get you a little kiss. I will again, but I'm not completely sold on Corey. So, I mean, because again, just like the girls, you're pulling all the stops out because you want to get in the villa. So I do think sometimes that it is hard for Casa people, but I do feel like in that short amount of time, it has to be a strong, like, you're like, damn, like, I'm really riding with this person. Like, I really can fuck with them pretty much. So it's just like, I feel like you have to have those type of feelings, because if not, I do think in the back of your mind, like, are you just telling me what I want to hear because you want to be here? So I get how that whole dynamic can be a struggle of trying to figure out, do I want to throw away what I have been building with someone for 3 weeks, or somebody that I could give a chance, and then next thing I know, they don't we don't work out, and I threw away what I had been building. So I don't know. It's a tough situation to kind of work through. So I try to give all of them grace, the men and the women, because it is a tough situation. Because at the end of the day, somebody's gonna get hurt. Okay, so then back to Kenzie. We back to Kenzie. Kenzie said, "Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!" About this little adventure or this little massage thing that Dylan set up for her. I guess, Carl came to like escort her down, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!" I said, "Kenzie." Dude, I just be laughing at Kenzie because she just be doing the absolute most. But, whatever, they go on the deck. He's doing her massage. I don't really care. And then you got Jen and Gold. Another two people I don't really care about. I don't care. I don't care about Jen. I don't care about Gold. The whole Kinsey and Gold thing. I don't know. Trini's talking to Ronnie about her connection with Bryce, and she's just talking about how, again, she's never dated outside of her race, and they both kind of have insecurities about this because I believe Bryce as well has never dated outside his race. So I do understand, like, it's a hard situation because you know it is like just thinking about you being with someone that is black, you're a black woman, and life is just easier to be with a black man. And just like as being a white man with a white woman, I'm sure your life is just so much easier than it is when you guys are crossing those lines. So I definitely commend people that date outside their race because you are dating definitely because you're dating for love and you're not dating to just stay comfortable in what it is that you know. And you do have to be open to learning new things and so on and so forth. So it definitely is a beautiful thing to see when you do see two people come together that come from different backgrounds. Anaya and Carl are talking, and she is telling him that she does feel like they have a good connection. I do think Carl is expressing that he is a little nervous because he does know that she still has another connection, which is kind of like what I talked about earlier. Is like, again, comparing spending 3 days with someone to someone spending 3 weeks with someone is totally different, especially when you are spending 24 hours most of the time with these people for the most part. So even though it's 3 weeks, it does feel longer because in your real life world, walking around, you're not spending 24 hours with no one, let alone 3 weeks, just straight 24 hours with no other influence. So you do get to learn a lot about people in that time. So I do understand how that is hard to come against only having 3 days. That's why I said it has to be something that is real strong for you to be like, I want to jump out here. Because jumping out there definitely runs you the risk of losing your other connection. So I do understand him being like, I am nervous. So, mm, we, she probably should have just went with Carl, but we'll see. Sincere is talking to Tiara about some puzzle pieces, and I really don't care about Sincere and these puzzle pieces and who's gonna fit where and do what, because Sincere is the piece that don't fit. I think everybody else is pretty much aligned. Sincere is the piece that don't fit, and he needs to fix him. He needs to get himself fixed so that he can then fit in with the other people. Because it's too much. The people pleasing is way too much. It's too much. And he just needs to work on that. Because again, you're not being disrespectful with your mouth, but it's disrespectful to lead these women in the way that you're leading them. Like everyone, you can't even tell who necessarily is special because everybody's hearing the same stuff. So that's why you can't just be like, oh, like he really fucks with Mel because listen to the way he talks to her. No, he talks to everybody the same way. So it's like, how do we know that you even really like Melanie? Like just because you keep picking her, that doesn't mean you really like her. Because you literally are talking the same way to all of these other women that you are communicating with. There's no difference. He tells um he tells Tiara that, Casey is so much different with her. Like, she's like, you really mean that? He's, pretty much saying like um he's never seen him like smiling so much, and so she's like, that means a lot, coming from outsider basically. Um so on and so forth. So again, it just makes me just think like it just makes me be like, I just wish that Casey was 100% transparent with Anaya. That's just what it makes me think. We're back to um we're back to the girls and Melanie and Kata and Anaya. They're kind of just sitting around chit chatting, and Melanie lets the girls know that she did kiss Corey, not once but twice. I said, all right. So the girls was kind of like, all right. They kind of was blown away. Like, I can't believe. Because I think this is the thing with Melanie. I think they made Melanie feel so bad for acting the way that she was acting in the challenges, which again, me personally saw nothing wrong with it. It was a challenge. If she wanted to kiss Sincere, she wanted to kiss Corbin, it was a challenge. She wasn't around this mug outside of the challenge. She went around this mug kissing Corbin. It was in a challenge. She was kissing the Corbin. So she took that time so that she wouldn't have to be disrespectful out of a challenge, to be like, let me see what this tastes like, let me see what this feels like. And she got her little piece. Okay. Because she could have easily just been out here trying to, because he going. Corbin is, anyway the wind blow, Corbin going. So they get the text, it's time to recouple. It's like dun 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 dun. No, I don't think that's the right sound. I don't think that was the right sound, but you get the point. It's time to recouple. Um, I will have to say that the girls came out in their outfits. They looked really nice. I was like, okay, girls, y'all ate a little bit. Y'all was cute. Y'all was cute. I really liked Naya's outfit. It was really cute on her. Okay, so now we're at the fire pit. And, I loved Ariana's dress. It was so cute. I love red. And it was so cute. I was like, all right, girl, wear that dress. So first up is Jen. Again, I don't really have too much to say about Jen because, you so happy because you got to pick somebody, but he trying to pick somebody else. You so happy you got to pick somebody, and girl, he trying to pick somebody else. I said, this is terrible. So we moved to Kenzie. Um, so Kenzie, she gets up, you know, Ariana asks her, a few questions, and she just likes to be known that Corbin is a F boy. And I'm like, but you didn't already see that? Kenzie, you didn't already see that. It was okay when the F boy was chasing you. It was okay that he was an F boy. Because you wanted him. You was back there secretly kissing and not telling and all of this type of stuff. So what we talking about? Again, I don't agree with the commentary from Corbin while he was over there in Casa. But none of this is surprising because Corbin is just Corbin. Like he was immediately running around trying to get kisses from all the women. So I don't know why. I don't know why Kenzie was surprised because again, her and Corbin they running a close race. She basically says their connection was never real because within 5 seconds into Casa, he basically threw her out the window. I said, yeah, he did. Baby, I mean, baby, he already said, baby Kenzie, y'all bringing somebody back. So, of course, Kenzie then couples up with Dylan. So now here comes Corbin. Again, it's not a surprise because he made it very known that him and P were going to couple up and come back to the villa, baby. But when as they're coming in, the girls can see that he's bringing a girl in. I don't think they're really surprised that he's bringing a girl in, but they do compliment her on that she's pretty, her dress looks good. Um, they let it be known that basically it's not her, it's him. Um, none of them really had anything negative like to say about her at all because again, it's not her, it's him. And again, I don't think anyone, and they didn't even get to see all the stuff that Casey said. Whew. But and him either, but just a little snippet that they had. So I'm sure it was a lot more stuff that they saw that we didn't see because they got the whole thing unedited. So can you imagine what those men were saying? Yeah. So, but when they gave him the booze and the tomatoes, when they gave that man the booze and the tomato, I was dying. I said Corbin didn't know what he was walking in on. Yeah, baby, they weren't feeling it. They was not feeling you. They was not feeling you. So, of course, as the men are coming in, that's when they're learning that, yep, the ladies got to see that initial heart rate challenge when the Casa girls were introduced. So Corbin's like, okay. So, of course, they're just all like going off on him about how disrespectful he was. And nobody pretty much cared about you exploring, but that doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful. I think that's pretty much the theme for Corbin and Casey. Like, explore, do you have your villa experience, but being disrespectful to someone, it's just never okay. It's never okay. And people making excuses for disrespectful behavior is insane to me. It's insane because the only thing I can think about is if that was just think, even if you're like, oh, what if the roles were reversed? Would you want a woman to be being disrespectful and talking down on your brother the way that KC was talking down on Anaya? Would you want your sister to be Anaya in the way that Casey was talking down? It's okay that you guys didn't connect. You should have just talked about it. But whatever. Let's get back on where we're supposed to be. I done lost track because I'm already ready to get into them. So Corbin says, basically he did this for him, whatever. Nobody really cares about Corbin. Of course, Kata picks Zach. Of course, I feel like that regardless if Homegirl would have stayed or not, I don't think he would have brought her back um, to the villa anyways. Now, would there have been opportunities to have more things of maybe if he was like talking mess or anything like that? Excuse me. I do think I do think we probably lost some of that, but I don't believe that Zach was going to bring the other girl back. Okay, now we get to Melanie. Bring on big Melanie. Um, and she runs down a list of these great things about Corey. Like I said, I wasn't still completely sold on Corey. Um, but of course she decides to stay with Sincere, which not very surprising. But when he walked in, when he walked in alone and they were like all happy and okay, da, da, da. But it was like the minute he got to that fire pit, like it was something in Mel's face that just changed. And I don't know if it was when he was talking about him being the luckiest man because he knows Melanie, Melanie knows him. It's just, he woke up this morning and it was just something in her seemed different after he talked. And again, I don't know if that's when she was like, I'm really stupid for picking this man. But but when she snapped, I loved it because I'm like, that fiery girl is there. So everybody like, oh, she's a crash out, she's a crash out, she's a crash out. Clearly, she was like, you know what? I'm not about to get on this TV and act no fool. Yeah, y'all got me that first week. I was a little borderline, but it's definitely in her. But she snapped on him. When she told him about the DICK in his brain, I'm like, right, like, what are you doing? And then when he was like, um, what did he say? Something along the lines about having time away from her. And then she was like, wait, hold up. Like, this is not your first time away from me. Like, you were a whole couple with soul. You were a whole couple with soul, pretty much. And we were in the same villa. And we didn't talk. We didn't communicate. You had your time away from me. You had time. So you gotta go and spend each girl gotta get the same thing for you to realize that, oh, Melanie is who I wanna be with. It's corny. It's corny, it's corny, it's corny, it's corny. And he gives her this stupid little I feel like he gave her this little stupid flower that he plucked from one of the bushes as he was walking in. I was like, this is stupid, dude. I do feel like that I wish Melanie would have, because I don't know for sure. I said I was going to go back and look on other scenes from Casas in the past and see if they all, because I know one year I feel like you had the option to be single, but I never heard um, Ariana say, do you want to couple up? Do you want to be single? Do you want to go back to your last couple? Do you want to be single? Or do you want to couple? I feel like she only had the two options. So it was either couple up with your current, stay coupled with your current couple, or couple up with a Casa dude. And then if your person didn't come back, then that meant you weren't coupled. But I don't think you had the option of not being like saying that I don't want to be coupled. I don't think they gave that option this year. Because if they did, I would have rather Mel done that than even pick Corey. Because she just may not have been feeling Corey. Maybe she thought Corey was a nice guy, but maybe she just didn't. Maybe it was something there. And I don't want her to just be picking somebody just to be picking somebody. I would have rather her, if she would have had the option to stay single, get Insincere's butt like she did, and then tell him, I'm staying single. I think that would have been, I think they should have had the Islanders be able to do that. Um, I will say that when after they had their moment or whatever, um, I can't remember if that's when P said, it's just a challenge. When they were talking about, dang, I forget what they were, because I do feel like Sincere was up there when that moment got started. Because Kenzie was like, yeah, because Zach said something about I like blondes now. And she was like, oh my God, it was just a challenge. It was just like, P, be quiet, girl. Just hush. Close your mouth. Close your mouth. Close your mouth. So once their part was over and he went up, I did like the fact, because I don't think I saw Mel hug him or kiss him. I don't think I saw either of those. He gave her that, like, she sat down, he gave her that dumbass flower. He gave her that dumb ass flower. And I feel like Anaya was like, oh, that's sweet. I'm like, girl, it's like he literally plucked it off of a bush. He's limping over. Like, no, that's not sweet. No, it's not sweet. It's half-ass. It's half-ass. So we move on to Trinity. Now it's time for Trinity and Bryce, whatever. Okay. I don't know. Of course, she doesn't pick anyone. We knew she wasn't because she was sleeping in toe ties. Bryce comes in. He act like he about to cry. You know, I guess everybody, all of the chatter I'm hearing is that they gonna win. They gonna win. I guess they have a connection. I just don't know how strong it is. I have heard like I do feel like that they do have a strong friendship connection, which I'm going to bring up a little bit later about friendship connections, a little later in this review. But I do feel like they definitely have a strong friend connection. I'm just trying to get to the romantic part, because even once we didn't even get a passionate kiss from them. It was like just stupid. I don't know. It was like the little pegs. So I don't know. I was just like, I just wanted them to go for that moment of like when you really been missing somebody, or you haven't seen your man and say he been out on the road, um, say he been out on the road or something working, and then he come home and you so excited to see him, he's so excited to see you. You just imagine how that kiss would be because you've been missing your man or you've been missing your woman. It ain't gonna be no like it's not gonna give that. So I was hoping in that moment we were gonna get, but they say that we've heard from numerous girls that Bryce is not a good kisser. So I couldn't be with nobody that's not a good kisser. I can't do it. I cannot do it. That just stops everything. Then drum roll please. Now we get to Anaya and Casey. Oh Lord. I knew I had tried to like pick the order in my head before they did the order. I was a little I was like, I knew Jen was gonna go first because she didn't matter. I knew she was gonna go first because she didn't matter. But um I didn't expect, but it did make sense because we knew that they were picking each other, but they didn't know that they were picking each other, because I expected Trinity and Bryce to go a little bit before they did, but because I actually expected them to go before Melanie them, but so I was a little off. But I knew Anaya and Casey was gonna be last. But once I knew for sure she was last, I was like, oh God. I knew in that moment she was not gonna pick Carl. I knew she wasn't. I knew she was not picking Carl. So, she gets up, she talks about how great of a person he is and all the things, and but unfortunately she is picking this thing with KC. I said, oh gosh, this is about to be terrible. And I keep, because I'm like, okay, it's gonna be some drama. Because when I'm looking at the episode, and I'll be like, okay, how many minutes is left? That lets me know, okay, it's gonna be some drama still, because we still got 10 minutes left. Okay, yep, it's gonna be drama. So I'm like, oh gosh. So here he come. I already knew he was. I don't care how they tried to make it dramatic or whatever. I knew he was bringing that girl back, no matter what. So when they start working, I'm like, and they both got on blue. I'm like, Lord, this is a mess. So, oh Lord, when he started walking, they like, he can't keep his head up. He can't even keep his head up. I'm like, oh, I'm really not happy with Casey. And it's not even that I'm not happy with Casey because he picked Tierra. I feel like he needed to pick Tierra. I'm upset with Casey because I feel like this whole situation could have been avoided. Um, had he just been more honest with Anaya. I just don't feel like Casey was honest 100%. I don't think that you can pour into someone as much as you are. And then if you're saying that, because if you're saying you weren't getting back what you were pouring into her, you didn't start having these feelings of not wanting to be with her the moment you got to Casa. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. You didn't just wake up in Casa and be like, oh, you know what? I don't really F with Anaya anymore. You you started to grow these feelings. You just waited for the opportunity for you to move on that situation, is what you did. Because you could have easily sat down with Anaya. It doesn't matter about Anaya crying one time, because everybody wants to talk about Anaya crying. And what gets me is everybody wants to talk about he had this conversation with her multiple times. Why was this conversation brought up multiple times? Was this conversation brought up because Anaya just woke up that day and decided she wanted to have this conversation with Casey? Her and Casey, every conversation she had with Casey was prompted from someone else. Her and Casey had the initial conversation about wanting to explore. He said yes, if she wants to pull me or whatever, he's open to it, so on and so forth. From that point on, the next day, what do we have? Sincere telling her that, hey, he said that she reminds him or she looks like his ex. Oh, okay, well, he didn't tell me that. Oh, yeah, mine is the pixie, but, so who knows what else was said in that conversation? Because I'm sure we didn't see the whole conversation between Sincere and her. So that prompted her to speak with him again. Like, oh, okay, your boy over here talking about this person reminds you of your ex, or they look like your ex, or so forth and so forth. So is that like the skilo you want to do? No. I'm off of that. I'm off of that. Okay, so now you off of it. So then guess what? If you off of it, that means we won't gotta talk about it no more. So we good. Okay, you off of it. Oh, okay. Let's move on. The next conversation, why do we have to have? Because it was a challenge. And something was dumped on him. And Zach said what he said. So then she's like, well, what is going on? So she don't know, are these men being haters? Because again, she don't know these people. So she can't just be like, oh, I'm taking their word for it that this is 100% that Casey's behind my back saying, so this and this and this, the reason that these boys keep saying stuff. But then when I go to KC, he's like, oh, that's not what that was. That's not what that meant. That's not what da da da. You are who I want to be with. You're not a safe option. You're da ba 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 da 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 da. All the hoopla. Hoopla. I mean, okay. So, and I was like, all right. Okay, we good. I'm believing in what you're telling me. I'm not believing your homies. I'm believing in what you telling me. Then we get in another challenge. We get into another challenge. And now we have Bryce saying something again about you guys' connection and basically Casey wanting to explore pretty much along the lines and you not, or whatever it was Bryce said. That prompted another conversation. The last conversation that Anaya had with KC was why? Because it's Trinity. Like, that's why I'll be like, I'm confused on what these people are talking about as far as, oh, she kept. The reason she had to keep talking to him is because she kept being told stuff by other people. Then she would go to him about what she was told, about what was said, and then he would reassure her that, hey, that's not what this is. So then she would stay in the connection, like, oh, okay, I'm trusting in what you're telling me. I'm not trusting in these other people. Because again, at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind it's a game. So how do I know you're just not trying to influence my relationship because you want us to fall apart and possibly not be able to make it to the end? I don't know. I don't know what your motives are with sitting around telling this stuff in challenges. If Casey's supposed to be your homeboy, it's weird. So that's why I just feel like that had Casey just set her down and just been like, hey, I think you're cool. You think I'm cool. We cool people. We get along, you know. But as far as like a romantic thing, I don't actually see that with us. Had she probably been hurt by that? Maybe. But again, for even for me in my personal life, I would rather my man be honest with me instead of pretending so that you can um pacify my feelings. Don't do that. To me that's so annoying because that's not that's not being real at all. I want you to be honest with me about what is it that you're feeling because that's how we end up having this is the thing is that this is how we always end up having relationships that should have been over but last longer and end up having so much drama and everything because people just won't be honest. Don't try to pacify people's feelings. You know, people be like, oh, people don't want to hear the truth. Um, People say they want to hear the truth, but they really don't want to hear the truth. No, sometimes people just got to hear the truth. And it is what it is. And how you move from there is how you move from there. But sometimes people just have to hear the truth. So I just feel like he should have just been like, unfortunately, if someone comes in that I want you to go out here and experience and have your full experience as well. I think he still could have poured into her into a different way, opposed to pouring into her to make her believe that this was a connection that they could grow in. He could have still poured into her, but pouring into her to for her to realize that, hey, this is not going to be good for us. This is not going to work for us. But we're here for each other for the time being of what we need to be. Now, once we have to step out from each other, that, things just have to fall how they have to fall. But we have seen people in previous seasons be in friendship couples. There's no romantic, connection between them, but they're able. We saw Liv stay for a while. Poor thing, she could not find a romantic connection, but she stayed for a long time. Why? Because she kept being in friendship connections. Nobody was just sitting around filling Liv's head from season 6, making her think that, oh, we're going to be this and we're going to be that. No, they both knew once they tried it, it didn't work. Oh, okay, so we're better off being cool with each other. We're better off being friends. Okay, so we have to couple up for each other for friends right now. That's what we have to do to stay in the villa. We've seen it before. And sometimes that happens. So I just feel like Casey should have just done a better job. And wanting to cower and be like, oh, I was doing it because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I just feel like that's a coward. I'm sorry, I do. I feel like be a man, be a woman, because the same goes if it was vice versa for her. She seemed to possibly have feelings for him. She seemed like, okay, there are some things that I don't typically, because again, we don't all love everything about our mates. We just don't. Everybody's mate is going to do something that you're like, okay, this is something that either is a deal breaker for me or it's not, I can kind of deal with. So that one thing that you're like, okay, this is something that I have to deal with it being in a relationship with you. But if you have things that you just know you cannot budge on, you know you don't need to move forward in a relationship with someone. So even for Anaya, if she felt like, hey, I need him to be serious sometimes, and sometimes he's not serious. If that's not something that you feel like that you can maneuver going forward without spazzing out about, then you should have made the decision that, hey, again, same conversation that Casey should have had. What crossed it for me is just the way that Casey talked about her in Casa. It was just uncalled for. You did not have to say the things that you said. Like the fact that you're like your stock was gonna go up. Baby, when I say that stuff plummeted, baby, your stock plummeted. It didn't go up. It went up with TT, and that's it. But the rest of it, it went all the way down. It went all the way down. So I'm trying to understand what you and it's so funny that so many people are calling Anaya insecure, but Casey's insecure as well. You felt like you and Corbin together, because I was like, this match between him and Corbin was terrible because it was almost like you were like the audacity of these women not pick me. Dude, look at me. How dare nobody pick me on the first day? Have you seen me? I feel like he just felt like he looked too good for him not to have gotten chosen. It's almost the same thing with Kenzie. When Kenzie walked in there, how dare Zach not be attracted to her? What? What do you mean you're not attracted to me? Well, I'm sorry. Everybody doesn't have to be attracted to you. And it's almost like with KC. You you felt like walking in there and and you're not an ugly man. But depending upon what people are looking for, you are just not anyone's cup of tea that particular night. And it's like for you to be like that nobody was behind your door. Okay, the same way you weren't picked, Anaya was. Anaya stood by someone's door and had to be chosen and had to be picked to be coupled. And she wasn't picked. Bryce and Trinity were almost a default as well. Because did Bryce get to pick who he wanted to try to go for? He did not. Trinity's the only one that stood behind his door. So he was defaulted to her. So it's just like, for you to hold on for anything from night one is crazy to me. But to me, it just felt like you was a big dog. You was a big dog. How dare those girls over the OG girls not want to be all up on me. And then when I walk over here and cost some more, I'm a king over here. What? What are you saying? And then when he said that she was on thin ice, that, first of all, would let me know that he did not care 1 ounce about Anaya. When they asked, was he happy for her? You didn't even like that girl as a person. You didn't even like her as a person. Because for you to be like, no, you're not happy for her? What? You over here, you feel like you done found your match and you da da da. So why you can't be happy for her? Why you can't be happy for her? Because obviously you said y'all didn't have nothing in common, so why wouldn't you be happy for her? That just let me know you never cared for her. You didn't like her, period. So you come off very performative. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So, sorry. Whole rant about KC because it's just so much. So, when KC, because again, when he goes into telling why he didn't pick, and when he does say that Anaya um, didn't pick him, or nobody picked him, and then, Anaya's like, what are you talking about? But I have picked you. I've stood here and picked you. Because again, as we know now, her and Sean were having conversations. It doesn't matter that she said that Sincere and Sean were her first initial attraction. She had the chance to go with Sean. Why does everyone keep forgetting that? She could have easily switched things up if she wanted to, because Sean was standing right there for the taking. And guess who would have been dumped from the island? KC. But guess what Anaya did? She chose KC. So again, for him to be like, oh, nobody picked me. It's like, go cry me a river. Go cry me a river. Go cry me a river. So, of course, all the girls are like, because even like Trinity's like, dude, nobody even knew you. Nobody even, we literally just walked in here and started kissing on each other. Nobody knew you. But we know you now, baby. We know you now. And you is an ain't. Mm. So all the girls is jumping in, da da da. So then Ariana asked TT, how is she feeling? And, she's saying how she feels about, you know, basically she's happy to be here and she deserves a chance for love and so on and so forth. And so then it switches over to Trinity talking, and she's like, man, I want to ask something. Katie tells her, go ahead and ask. So she does. She says, can I ask a question? So again, for the people that be like, oh, she interrupted. Well, I think Ariana was controlling that thing right there. So she asked, could she ask a question? Ariana told her she could ask. So she gave permission for Trinity to speak. I think the whole part that people are missing now, Trinity is not saying exactly, it's not word for word what was said, but I think the reason that Bryce took offense to what Casey was saying was that basically because him and Anaya, Zach and Kata had been couples. that had not explored. Basically, like he would have been pissed had they not been one of the favorite couples. And so Bryce is like, but me and Trinity been together. Okay, well, y'all split up. Like for a hot second. Like we don't even count that. Because neither one of them went and slept in other people. Well, Trinity did the one night. He did the one night. And then they were back the next day. Because neither one of them were chosen. So they went and had conversations with people, is what they did. They didn't actually get coupled up with someone, spend days away from each other, and all of that. They didn't do that. They explored. It just happened to be that when they explored, it was off of the villa. So it's like people, I think, are missing the point where they're like, why would Trinity ask that? Well, the reason she was asking that is because the reason you brought that up is because you were saying that we have been together since day one. So I would have been pissed had we not been a favorite couple. Well, why does that matter to you? Why does that matter to you? Favorite couples has nothing to do with how long someone was together. We don't typically pick like, oh, this person, they've been together the longest, so that's why we're picking a favorite couple. No, we typically pick couples that we can kind of see have good connections and so on and so forth. So y'all seem to be having a good connection. That's why y'all got picked. It had nothing to do with the fact that y'all were a couple together since day one. So I think that's why Bryce was just kind of thrown off about it. So when Trinity's asking it, I think Trinity is just like, you felt like you had a strong couple, is the reason you felt like you would have been pissed if if you weren't picked for a favorite couple. So how do you go from feeling like you have a strong couple to switching up in 3 days? You basically shitting on, we're trying to anyways, saying that, well, because y'all split. Okay, well, yeah, because we split, yeah, we still could have been a favorite couple too. Um, because y'all split. I mean, because they split. So I think Trinity would more so was just trying to figure out, like, why would you say something about our relationship or our coupling at that time when you said it, when we felt like, okay, we were a strong situation as well, even though we had explored, we still felt like we were a strong connection. We felt like we were moving in a strong connection, and which again, I'm not here to say that they are not, because again, I have my feelings on that. But you have, so for you to say that, so I think she was just trying to, that I think that was the point that she was trying to make, was that how did you go from saying that you felt like you should be this and we shouldn't have been this, not they shouldn't have been, because he didn't say that, but basically saying that you would have been pissed if y'all weren't, because y'all had been since day one. I think that's where she was coming from, of that. Okay, you didn't put them in there because they went and explored, but because you hadn't explored, and Zach and Kata, which Zach had explored, that's how he ended up with Kata. Um, then you were a favorite couple, but so you weren't really that strong. So you were kind of moving sneaky. So Trinity, she just let him know, like, so he's trying to answer the question. He don't feel, but if you notice, again, I don't know how, if it was cut that way, but when he got ready to respond to the question, he didn't respond saying that he didn't say that. He was saying it wasn't true, that he didn't jump at the first thing. That's what he said wasn't true. He never said that statement wasn't true. He was saying he didn't never jump at the first thing. Now, again, It could be that he also said that that part wasn't true too, because, like I said, he didn't quite say it the way that Trinity was saying it. But I still think it all aligns in together of what was being said. Because in the end of it, he was making a point that they were a strong couple because they had been together since day one. So he would have been shocked if they wouldn't have been in one of the favorite couples. And then basically it went to hell from there. TT said she wanted to introduce herself basically to everybody. And, Trinity's trying to let her know that, like, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you, no shade. So TT want to let Trinity know, but I'm talking to you. It was just a lot happening there. It was a lot happening there. I do commend Trinity because when she did her stance, like, it's whatever, baby, the way I would have been up off the couch, baby, it could be what it be, girl. But I am glad that Trinity was able to control herself because she didn't appear that she got out of her seat. So I don't know for the Melanie and all of that because it's floating around that Melanie and them got up out their seat. So I don't know, but she didn't appear to get up out of her seat. So because at the end of the day, you do have a lot to lose in having some type of physical altercation, especially in a setting like this. Because, like Anaya said, it's this bad girls club. I do think Anaya meant baddies because I'm like, girl, you must watch reruns because are you old enough to remember Bad Girls Club or whatever? But anyways, I'm like, was Bad Girls Club coming on when you was little? It might have been, but yeah. So it just went to hell. It just went to hell after that. And so, Ariana, she tried to bring it back around, like, emotions are high, but everybody needs to respect each other. So it'll be interesting to see how this moves forward because I'm pretty sure that Carl is coming back in from the vote, and I honestly don't know which girl because I've been seeing people post um, pictures of both, so I'm not sure which one is coming back. So it'll be interesting moving forward how this is going to all work out. But we will be back for the next review. Please make sure you are subscribing to my channel, liking my video. If you have any comments, let's leave them below. Let's have more conversation down there. Until next time. Bye.